Hi, this is Russell. I'm the Customer Services Manager at Box Telematics, and I'm here to show you through some of the aspects of the SPOTON tracking software. The first video I'm going to show you today is just a general overview of the fleet screen, which shows where your various vehicles are on the system at the moment. I'll take you through three different sections: the main fleet screen overview, the satellite mapping functionality, and then the fleet screen but shown in a driver's perspective. So the first thing I'm going to show is just the main screen here. This is the standard screen that everyone will see when they first log into the system. You can see at the bottom of the screen you've got a list of all of the vehicles currently associated with the fleet. I'm demonstrating our box demo fleet here, which includes four assets which are actually BlackBerry phones with our tracking software installed, which actually turns them into something that can be tracked using the software, and then two of the vehicles that we have fitted in our company vehicles. So the main screen consists of four different sections. You've got the list of options on the left hand side. There's quite a few there, but I'll take you through those in later videos for the reports. You've got the main mapping section at the top, which will show you as many vehicles as it can depending on the zoom level, which I'll show you how to change in a bit. On the right hand side you've got an overview map, which will just show you generally the same kind of area but zoomed out further. This area can also be changed to a find screen and a satellite screen, which I'll go through a little bit later. And then you've got the main fleet list at the bottom. Now the main fleet list will display all of your vehicles. You've got various columns. The first column here is the registration. The registration can be anything you want to call it. Obviously we've got some serial numbers here for BlackBerry mobile phones. Other than that, we've got some actual vehicle registrations. The next section we've got here is reference, which can be filled in with any information you like when activating a unit. Then you've got the driver section, which is where it shows you which person is actually driving that vehicle at the moment if you're using the driver ID system. Then you've got the vehicle make and model, or sorry, the vehicle type, which is the make and model. If this information has been filled in, it will show just basically a Peugeot 206, something like that. Then you've got the site, which relates to the geofence. The geofence is a separate section which I'll go into, but it does show which vehicles are at particular defined locations. And then you've got the next column, which is location itself, which actually just shows where in address-wise where the vehicle is located at the moment. Scrolling across, you've got three more columns. You've got the odometer, which is the odometer of the vehicle. You've got the date and the duration, which are related to each other. Now the date and the duration are basically showing you when it was that the information last changed as such. So for vehicles on the move, it's being driven around, you'll see that this date and duration will actually be fairly recent, in the last couple of minutes, as this one is at the moment. If it's been in one location for a long time, like this one in particular has, it shows 61 days, which actually means that it hasn't actually moved anywhere since the 26th of November 2011 at 1:54. So one thing that people do mistake is thinking that this duration is actually the last time that the unit sent any data at all. It's not that, it's just when the vehicle last changed information. So if it's been parked there for 61 days, it will say 61 days, but that the information would have been coming through daily. So that's the basic information from this bottom section. You can right click on any of the assets and you have a variety of options, most of them relating to the reports, which I said I'll go through a little bit later. But you can zoom to a selected vehicle on the map and it'll take you right down to street level. You can locate, which if you've got more than one vehicle showing on the map at the same time, like that, you've got one there and one there. If you right click and select locate, it will select that one. But if I was to right click and locate one of the other ones, oops, then it just jumps it to that. So it just jumps the map to that particular vehicle if you've got more than one on the screen. there's various other options in here which may or not be used for you. Copy, open in Excel. You can, if you try those out, you'll see what they do. But for the purposes of this demonstration, I'll miss those out. The update just refreshes this section at the bottom, which is automatically done every minute anyway. But if for some reason you need it updated quicker, and then you've got some various configurations and actions, which I will go into later. It's just some admin of the assets themselves. So if we go up to the map and look at this section, the first thing to notice is the bar across the top, which controls exactly what the map is doing. You've got the zoom bar, so you can zoom as far out or as far in as you like. Also using the plus and minus magnifying glass icons here, which will zoom in and out. You've got the choice here to flip between normal maps and then the Google provided satellite maps, so you can see this is where our office is, and you can turn that on or off. Then you can do a zoom to selection, so you can draw a selection there and then the map will zoom onto it when you click on it. You've got the little hand icon which basically drags the map around for you if you want to explore a different area around where the vehicles are. You've got an icon for changing the map colours to your preference, really. There might be a reason if you've got someone that's colourblind or isn't able to see certain things, then you can change it to be a bit easier to read. You can hide or show the scale bar, which is this bar down here. I can turn that on or off. Hide or show labels, which, as you can see, it puts the actual information from the fleet underneath there. If there's a few too many on there, obviously it can get a bit crowded, so you can't exactly see one from the other, but it does come in handy if you need to check. And then you've got things like copy map to clipboard, which will allow you to paste the picture of the map at the moment onto a document. You've got the satellite icon, which automatically centers the map on the selected item. So if that vehicle is actually on the move, if that vehicle moved off the map, the screen would actually follow it. So it wouldn't stay exactly where it was. The vehicle wouldn't move itself off. The screen would actually keep updating so that that vehicle is always in the middle of the map. It's kind of hard to demonstrate, but that's what it does. You've got an option here to show in full screen, which will just maximize the SPOTON window, using up as much of your desktop space as possible so you can see everything. And then you've got forward and back, which just changes between where you were looking previously. Okay, so that's that section. You can right click on the map and there's a couple of different things you can do, which is add geofences. As I said, I'll talk about that later. And the show distance and get directions, I'll show you that shortly. And you can also do zoom to. The other section of interest is the overview section on the right. By default it shows this overview, which is just a slightly zoomed out version of the main map. Underneath that you've got a summary of the statuses of your vehicles. On ours at the moment we've got 2 vehicles under alert and 2 as parked. Sorry, no, we're showing two of 3 vehicles under alert and 2 of 3 are parked. The reason it says 2 of 3 is because we zoomed in too close to see all 6 vehicles. If we were to zoom out far enough, there we go, it says 3 of 3 now, because it's actually showing you the number that are currently visible on the map at that time. And then the same goes for geofences. If you've got a geofence section which is on the screen currently visible, so you've got the box offices there, it will show that's visible at the time. So you see 1 of 64 geofences, and that one is our office. But the interesting parts on the right hand side are the find and the satellite options. I'll start with satellite because it's quite a simple one. All it does is gives you the dual view of being able to see the same location as the main map, but with satellite. So you're getting sort of the same kind of effect as turning that option on and off at the top, but at least you can see both things at the same time. You can pull that map around and do whatever you like with it, really, and they're both kind of linked together. As you see, they move to mirror each other's position. From here, one of the new features that we've actually had is that we can now use the Google Street View. If you left click and drag the little man icon to a location on the road, it will actually change to the Google Street View, so you can get an idea of of what the road looks like that you're on. You know, if there's some reason you need to reference any particular buildings, that can be turned on and off using that little cross there to turn it off again. And the other option on here is to turn on the road names, which will actually put that information in there as well. Okay, the third option is find, and this ties in with a couple of the options that we've seen before regarding get distance and directions. But if we were to type in a postcode, we'll use our office postcode. Sorry, yeah. Help if I actually typed it in right. B46. With a space, sorry. Okay. You can see it's put a marker there, an orange marker where that location is. Now, there's a couple of different options you can do from this point. Those options that we saw earlier where it's got show distance from here and get directions from somewhere to here. Now essentially what the two options do is if I click show distance from here, what it will change is at the bottom here on your fleet list, it'll add on an extra column called distance. So you can see at a glance how many of your vehicles are close to that location. So our box offices, you can see that, you know, a couple of them are obviously parked at our offices, and then there's a couple that are eight or so miles away. So if you've got a customer call that needs doing or something like that, you can search for the location, right click, do get distance from here, and then the customer you can see which one of your vehicles is closest to that location if you want to dispatch them to do the job. Second to that, you can right click on that location, then if you've got a vehicle selected down here, so if we select that one, and then if we right click and do get directions from here. Now I can't actually show you this because it will open up in a separate window which won't be recorded, but it opens up Google Maps and gives you, opens up your web browser showing Google Maps and gives you the route from the location that you searched for to the location of your vehicle currently. So it'll actually it'll give you the directions, so if you do need someone to go to the job, you can direct them which way they need to go as well, or at least help them out on their way. So it's a couple of handy little things there. There's also the add geofence option, but geofences I'll come back to. So in general, that is the main fleet screen. This is the main section that people use from day to day, just for seeing where their vehicles are, rather than any kind of in-depth admin. But that about covers it. The next section we're going to talk about the journey details and the journey summaries on the left-hand side. And that'll be it for now. Okay, thanks.